somehow be turned off. Do you race every day but only record a couple times, or do you record every time you race?
Put on the shoe stick. Audio. Wonderful. Get the workout after all. All right. Drop into a comfortable gear. Do my best to monitor. I should have done set up the chats on the on my second monitor. Up for now. I've got no fans on. And this is, purpose of this is to sweat, which is why I'm doing this active recovery, almost 2-hour ride. So for those of you new to my channel, hopefully you enjoy the background music. I'll do my best not to completely interrupt it all the time, outside of maybe responding to questions or comments. But those are songs that are on playlists that I've created using Suno AI, and do make them available for anyone that wants to use it. Feel free to just check the playlist, check my playlists, and you can stream it. If you like it, leave a comment, use it in your videos, that kind of deal. So, hope you enjoy it. The focus of those playlists are to motivate and energize while you're exercising. There's two different playlists. There's Ribeye and Rock is the theme of the albums. The first one is Fuel the Ride. which is cycling specific motivation. And the second one is fuel the workout, I think, or fuel the pump, something like that, which is meant for indoor gym fitness. All right. Background music for me, something light. Okay, no problem. Actually, I'm really tired. But instead of trying to go to sleep, trying to get my legs moving, been a weird day. So I need to keep my legs moving. Car ended up throwing us for a loop. He gave us a warning saying that it was out of coolant. And if you know that, if you ever get a message like that on your car, you know that could be very bad. Not having coolant is not a good thing. So luckily, it seemed like it was just the sensor or the level. It wasn't at its tippy top, which hopefully I'm gonna get another day or two the driving with it, monitor it before I travel. So hoping nothing's wrong with it, because the last thing I need to do is drive with a car that is losing radiator fluid. So yesterday's Swift Racing League video will be up on the channel tomorrow, 7 a.m. Eastern time. And if you're ever curious as to why I chose that time to post, when I do my regular posts, that's my focus, is to post at the same time, post at that same time at 7 a.m. And that's because we look up Google Analytics. There's a Google analytics page for popular search terms. And when you look up the search term Zwift, it has a dramatic spike, an increase around 7 a.m. in the morning, or just after. And so I want my post to go out just before the height of people jumping on, checking out videos and whatnot. And so that's why I chose that time. Doesn't necessarily work all the time. If you look at the stats on my videos, some do well, some don't. For me, it is just, I like stats. I like numbers. I like to be able to, I don't necessarily track things perfectly, but I like looking at trends, figuring out what works, what doesn't. And so for me, live streaming is kind of a lower priority on my, in terms of my channel profile. I like it because it simplifies the whole process. Turn on the camera, lights, all that stuff, and then just go. But I do like editing the videos and kind of chunking them down into bite-sized pieces. I know not a lot of people have time to watch a full hour race, or in today's case, an almost 2-hour workout. So for lives, I always invite people to come and go as they please, check in on me when you can, if I'm still alive. But if you can't stay, that's fine. But the shorter videos, shorter format videos, are for those that want to see not only the strategy that I'm implementing while I'm racing, and kind of what was going through my head at the moment, because you learn a lot when you rewatch your races. You see where you mess up, you see where you made improvements. I do plan on creating a video of where I'm at now in terms of my racing. But to give you an idea of where I've come, so I started racing, I want to say around March, April timeframe of this year. I spent some time doing a lot of group rides, doing a lot of just pedaling around. But the main focus initially for this channel was group rides and kind of talk about fitness, talk about nutrition. And then I started racing. And that became secondary. Everything else became secondary to racing. Not that I don't talk about or promote nutritional strategies. I generally do that through posts because I don't want to be the guy. I want to be able to point you to the guy or gal that has the answers. The people that I'm learning from. Because I feel like it's more important for you to learn from the people I'm learning from. And then if I can clear anything up, then I will. Than me trying to be the guy that thinks he has all the answers. The reality is, I'm about 90% sure of what my body requires and how to perform optimally. If you look at the last 2 races that I've done, specifically the Monday, Tuesday races, which again, the ZRL will be up tomorrow. But if you look at those 2 races and compare them to my first few races, I have come a long way. I started off racing in New York. I'm pretty sure my first race was in New York, in the D category, and felt like I could barely hang on. My FTP back then was in the 170s, and I really didn't know what I was doing, other than I thought I was stronger than I was because I was using a fluid trainer, and that thing is a beast to turn your legs over at higher RPMs and higher wattage. And then I got my first smart trainer, which was an Elite Diretto. Great smart trainer, but snapped the belt in no time. Couldn't figure out trying to calibrate it and adjust the tensioner. This was driving me nuts, and then something about it started like jamming almost. It still works, but it makes this noise like a freight train. And so that one got put aside because my ambition started growing. I wanted to race Sunday Race Club on my whoosh, and I couldn't use that trainer because it wasn't compatible. It was too old. It's 2018, I think. somewhere around there. And so, like I said, it's a good trainer, still works. But for my ambitions, it just, we had to part ways, to say the least. And then, and so I got an Elite Justo, the first version of it, not the newest one, which was compatible with, or is compatible with my Whoosh. Has great ratings, about 1.5% accuracy on power, 10 hertz frequency, that kind of stuff. The good features, super quiet. I only really hear my drivetrain. The only time I hear the trainer is when I have the plastic cover on for the flywheel, because the cover doesn't sit properly, so it ends up rubbing against the back of the flywheel. And it ends up to the point where while I'm riding, it'll pop off because it's just touching just enough. And so I don't really keep it on if I don't need it, or since I don't really need it. Should grab my towel. This is gonna get messy real quick. But yeah, so upgraded my trainer, upgraded my drivetrain. I had a 54 or 53 39 circular chain rings, standard chain rings. Upgraded to 5339 ovals because I got a power meter that required 4 bolts instead of 5, so I couldn't keep my round ones. And I like the idea of the oval chain rings because the power distribution, if you look at the power curve on a circular chain ring, it's almost oval, like almost completely oval. If you look at the power curve on an oval chain ring, it's almost circular. And the reason for that is because the power through the long section, 125 cadence, yeah, right. The power through the long section, basically, so as you come up over the top, the oval chain ring is angled in a way where the top of your stroke is actually the beginning of the power curve. And then as you push forward till about, you're looking at a standard clock, to about the 5 o'clock position, then you're at the bottom, almost the bottom of your stroke, and the power's starting to come off. So it's a nice long power curve. And for me, it works. It was a brutal change initially because I was working what felt like 2 or 3 times harder. Back then, I had my trainer at 100% difficulty because I could manage it with no problem. As soon as I switched to this, I was in so much pain. And I thought it was me for a little while. Like I was doing bad in some races, and I thought it was me. Like I couldn't muster through it. But it's a combination of new equipment and inexperience, weakness. But I adjusted my trainer difficulty during my first ever Zwift Racing League race, which was Glyph Heights. I had to stop, basically up I will up my cadence. And so I had to stop halfway up the grade to adjust my trainer difficulty, so I can finish the climb and then finish the stage. But since then, I've found that staying around the 70% for me works well. I do plan on increasing it every now and then so I can build that strength. I'm at the top end of what I can do in terms of strength for the settings I have. And so my goal for 2025 is to hit 1,300 watts on sprinting and somewhere in the 3 to 350 FTP. Sounds like a lot for a goal, especially for next year, but considering where I came from, started in my FTP in the 170s. I'm now at 259. My 5-minute power is just under 4 watts per kilogram, primarily because I've lost now about 12 kilograms in the last 6 months or so, since I started really focusing on eating right. So my mantra is eat right and move right. Not about eat less, move more, or calories in, calories out, but you're eating the food your body needs and moving the way your body needs, then you're going to get strong and get into the body composition that your body requires. If you're lifting weights, that means you'll get stronger. If you're cycling, that means you'll get stronger. And so I also went from a sprint of, I don't think I could manage more than like 600 or 700 watts previously, to my 15-second power is just under 1,000 watts. And my top end sprint, essentially when I'm fresh, is just under 1,100. And so I've come a long, long way since I started this journey. And it truly is thanks to a lot of people, a lot of different groups. Not only by connecting with different YouTubers in this space, but also spending basically day in and day out listening to different nutrition podcasts, health and fitness, and not just the 5 minutes to success. Here are the 10 ways to lose weight, eat these 5 things, but the Andrew Hubermans, Andy Galpins, the Ted Naiman's, which I'm a huge fan, but he kind of originally inspired my path of prioritize protein over anything else. But a lot of people that I listen to are doctors and researchers that are doing these long format hour, 2 and 3 hour podcasts. And so it helps me to be able to listen to stuff like that, because I can then learn and figure out what works for me and how to make adjustments, subtle adjustments, as I put stuff into work. And sometimes results come quickly, other times it takes a while. And so right now my focus is the Flamme Rouge Racing Series Tour Watopia that unofficially starts December 30th, with stages 1 and 2 being back-to-back stages for classification purposes. But and then January 6th through the 12th is the actual race series, stages 3 through 8. And stage 8 is where 100% of my nutrition and workout effort is going towards. It's 92 kilometers and 2,200 meters of elevation. I'm hoping it doesn't take me more than 4 hours to complete it, but likely it's going to be somewhere between 4 and 5 hours. And the last time that I rode that long, well, I've done 100 kilometers before, but that was on Fuego Flats, or Tempest Fugit rather, which is, simple route, quick, took me about 3.5 to 4 hours, somewhere around there. Had to stop a few times because of my saddle sores. And while this time around there's climbing that's going to be able to help me get out of the saddle more, it's not the same. This is so much harder. So the last race I did that felt that long was the first Flamme Rouge series that I did. The last stage, or second to last stage, was, what route is it? It's in the UK. Long route, I think like 70 kilometers, something like that. And it was like 700 or 800 meters of elevation gain, maybe more. Took me almost 2 hours, or 2 hours, somewhere around there. Well, I completed it and did so with no aid of like nutrition in the water or anything like that. I had some MCT oil and heavy whipping cream for the race, but only had electrolytes and water and energy drinks throughout the race. My energy drinks are sugar-free. So, and I did good. I had a plan, I stuck to the plan, and I executed it well, and it worked. This time around, I don't have a plan yet, because I've never done any kind of distance like that, or distance and elevation. And so, starting off right now with getting your saddle. While this one works, the wings of the saddle push into the back of my thighs, and you'll see me constantly adjusting back and forth so I can get myself into a good, comfortable position, but also into a more aggressive position so I can put a little bit more power through the pedals. And so once that comes in, hoping it was coming in today. Actually, funny thing about it is the saddle's been traveling my local area the last 2 days. It's supposed to be delivered Friday, even though it can be delivered tomorrow. So I don't understand that. Hopefully it gets delivered tomorrow. Not gonna probably get here in time for me to use it on the TTT. But if it is, then I'll try it out. Because why not? Why not do something like swapping out saddles hours before your TTT starts? As if TTTs weren't hard enough. at least a little high from my zone 2. But this is where we're going. Hopefully the music is still going. I'm not on some other random playlist. That's happened to me in the past. I've gotten copyright notices for it, which annoys me because I put the playlist on and set it to loop, and it's both my playlists combined, so it should be long enough to last. But at some point it kind of stops looping and then moves on to other playlists, not mine. My homeboy's got the KOM jersey. That was a good thing. This is probably one of the harder KOMs for me because of the fact that it's about, last time I did this, it took me somewhere in the 4 or 5 minute range. And so that's, and it has that little flat spot in the middle. And so those flat spots always mess me up. I end up dropping my wattage, and then I'll lose a lot of time. Then I have to pick it back up. But in cases like today, I'm soaking wet. I'm not gonna touch my phone, or a lot of times I don't even want to touch my gears because they'll end up sliding underneath my hand and my body weight drops a bit. I've almost fallen over because of it. Specifically, changing from my 39 to 53 tooth chain ring, where I'll go to shift the gear and it's such a long throw that I end up slipping and arm falls, weight falls with it. You probably are. What's up, Bobo? Since I'm just doing a workout or really a zone 2 ride, I'm not worried about getting passed. Although psychologically it does mess with my head a bit because I like to race and I'm competitive. And if I can compete, I will. But today the competition is between me and the clock. I've done this active recovery before, but I don't know that I've ever finished it. One of the last times I did this, I was going up the Ventop in France, whereas it's affectionately known in the real world, Mount Ventoux. And I don't know how far I got, but I got to a point where I was just like dizzy and felt weird. This was prior to the saddle that I'm using today, so my sit bones were hurting immensely, and so I want to complete this one. I should be able to get through it. Seat that I'm using today is better. Like I said before, it pushes up against the back of my thighs when I'm on it for too long. I'm in the wrong position, so it does get uncomfortable. But my new seat's not here, so all I can deal with. And ultimately, this will be another just route completed. Another route badge, thanks to a workout. That's what I see a lot of people do. And it's a good way to get experience points, because for every like minute or whatever, or every section you complete, something like that, you get extra experience points on top of the experience points you get for every kilometer you complete. And so for people who are hunting to get up to a new level, this is always a good way to do it. You set your, if you can hold 200 watts, then the best one to do is 200 watts for 5-minute chunks for an hour up the Alpe du Zwift. If you can manage going up the Alpe du Zwift in an hour, if not, extend it out till what you think you can complete. GP Llama, I believe, has a video on this, and he set his, and it literally got him, it finished the workout just before the top. So it finished his workout, he got the wheel spin. I think he already had the lightweight wheels, but either way, you get the wheel spin at the top. And then you get all those kilometers going back down. And what he ended up getting was like 5,000 experience points, or some ridiculous amount like that. Like, it was nuts what he got. And so, if you're gonna do a workout, might as well maximize the experience points you can get with it. Actually, not a fan of the workouts, but heard someone recently talk about that and how you build, actually I think it was JD that was telling me that you build a foundation of strength on the workouts that you won't get racing, like just racing. And so part of my goal for FRR is to build my base foundation up, I can average over 3-4 watts per kilogram. Then whatever category I'm in, I'll at least be competitive. Now for me, a big part of that's going to come through weight loss. I'm hovering in between 83 and 84 kilograms. Down from, I got up to 88 kilograms over Thanksgiving. So a few weeks later, down 4 or 5 kilograms. Well, I wish I was further along. The goal is never to try and maintain a hard cut, but to get as close to 70 kilograms as possible, even if it means that I stop at 80. But it's still closer than where I was in the beginning. And I know by January 12th, I'll definitely be under or around 80 kilograms. I'm trending downward every day, even if it's 500 grams less. The Alp may sound horrible, but when you're doing it in a workout, and you have you can do erg mode, not erg mode, it doesn't matter, but if you're in a workout mode, you set your watts to 200, and then, like I said, chunk it every 5 minutes. That's going to give you the best TSS, which maximizes the amount of points you can get. It feels fairly reasonable, because when you're in a workout mode, you don't get the grade simulation, only the wattage. It's just, if you can't do it in an hour, then you got to be mentally prepared to go that distance, which my personal best right now is 67 minutes. And that was prior to my Thanksgiving feast. And so my plan is to, I don't think there's any group events are doing the Alp anytime soon, but we have a couple big events or long distance events right before FRR starts. And then FRR finishes the day before my birthday. And if I survive that stage with my wits about me, I might be dumb enough to do the Alp the next day and see if I can break 60 minutes. Because that would be unbelievably phenomenal for me. Because at the beginning of this year, I was in the 80 minutes for the Alp. But to be able to do it in 60, under 60, and build that in a year, for me, it's fantastic. Well, if you're doing any workout, it doesn't matter where you're at. So like in New York, like I just did 236 meters of elevation, and you only feel whatever wattage the workout tells you you're doing. And so you don't get the grade simulation. The other way to do that, if you ever want to do that without being in a workout mode, is you turn off trainer difficulty, or you pair your device with what's it called? With ANT only, so there's no power. You're still measuring your watts, your power meter, but the controller, if you pair the controller with ANT, it doesn't send power commands, it's basically only listening. And so it'll take away that simulation feel. I personally don't like riding like that because you end up, like in my case, I'll have to stay in 53 in the front and like 16, 14 in the rear to set, which feels like, when you look down, you're like, oh man, that's, the pros ride in those types of gears. But in reality, it's because you have zero resistance. And I like the feedback. So generally when I do that, if I'm not going to do a workout in zone 2, I will set the simulation, the trainer difficulty down to like 10%. So I can get just enough feedback on the pedals to remind me to push a little bit harder on the climbs, even if it takes me just above zone 2 effort. My heart rate right now is way above it, but oh well. And so it helps if you're going to do these long steady efforts and you want to keep within a certain power range or heart rate range, or you can do the workout. The same thing. If you disable erg mode, then you have to pedal under your own power without the trainer difficulty on. And so it has its benefits. Now there are some people that race that way, and I give them props because it is infinitely more harder to race holding a specific cadence and power, knowing that you're not going to get any sort of assistance from Zwift going downhill or in the draft. You lose all that when your training difficulty is down low. And so it can require, like if you look at Ride with Hairband, I personally don't know what his settings are, but if you ever want to see what a master of staying steady and holding steady watts are, he's probably the best on Zwift. He sets his mind to 400 watts. So there was a time trial he did, which is the Bologna course, the Bologna TTT course, the event only course. He held, so there was a climb in that course that's 16%, and he held 400 watts almost the entirety of the climb, which is like a few kilometers. Absolutely in awe of that man's ability to just get into the pain, settle in, and just work. And so that's what I'm trying to build by doing some of these workouts, is that lower, 400 watts is not low end, but it is if you're looking at just like diesel strength, looking at holding 400 watts for a while versus, sprinters that can spike up. Like I for sure, and Zwift has me categorized as a sprinter because my 20-minute power is just over 3 watts per kilogram, but my 15-second power is 10 watts per kilogram, which is a dramatic difference. And so I'd like to bring that bottom end up while also pushing up the top end. I want to compete not only in the Zwift races, but also in Sunday Race Club on my whoosh. If I can compete there, it would be fun. Yeah, he has been riding a long time, which as a kid, I used to run quite a bit and run really well. At like 4 or 5 years old, I was running a mile on the sport track with no issues. And then over the years, lost that, gained weight. When I joined the military, I had a gunny that I worked with that he and I would go running all the time because I was definitely the weakest link, physical fitness wise, of my organization, of my platoon. And he and I would go running all the time with, heavy, with our flak jacket on, which is our armored jacket, an extra 30 plus pounds sometimes, depending on what I put in it, water, boots, trousers, and we'd do 5 miles, 10 miles, whatever it was that day, 3 miles. And I went from running about 20, the Marine Corps PFT, we're required to do a 3-mile run. I was running my 3 miles in like 20 something minutes, 24, 25 minutes, which is good if you're a high school female. And that's actually at the slow end for high school females. And he got me down to 1930 on the 3 mile. And I remember that day when I ran it, I was passing by people, and one of my master sergeants, I ran by him and he's like, "Way to go, Gazelle." Because I just, clean strides, just flew right by him. And it was the first time I ever believed that I could do more than what I thought I could. And so I've carried that into this realm of virtual cycling. But I'm the person pushing me. even though the community as a whole is helping encouraging me and like, hey, you can do it, you got this, keep going. And I get, people in the chat, whether it's like you today, Wovo, and others in the chat, encouraging me, pushing me on, not letting me falter. The goals and the drive all come from that internal perspective of I am better, even if it's just not today. And so that's goals for next year is be competitive. And not just in my current class, because man, these last two races, I almost finished with the front group. And I was kind of devastated yesterday. Kind of dust myself off this morning after reviewing and editing the video, because I noticed that on Monday's race and today's, I fell off the back almost exactly at 2 kilometers left. And so that, I was a little bit deflated last night and kind of fell asleep that way, frustrated. Woke up frustrated. And then after editing the video, just looked at it and said, you know what? This year was my best race ever. Came in the whatever category I'm in for ZRL, within, 30 seconds of the first person. On Monday's race, I came in within a minute of the first person. So I'm very happy with my results. And I truly have raced better than I ever raced prior to it. Even though I've won races in the past, Monday's race I felt like was more competitive. A lot of stronger people in the pen. Same thing with ZRL. ZRL always has strong people. And a lot of the races that I've won were either because I was at the top of my category and getting ready to move up, or the people in the pen were all around my abilities or less. And so while those wins count to lift my racing score, I don't look at them as true wins, because I didn't have to fight to beat the group to win. And so oh man, 50 minutes in, take my first swig, my first real drink. I ate not that long ago before this, so I'm not dehydrating myself, kind of glistening. And my bike is a mess. It's wet. Shirt is soaked. By the end of this, my socks will be soaked. While I started the day at 84 kilograms, I will probably start tomorrow either at 83 or under 83. Because of sessions like this. There's a nice long zone 2 workouts. Yeah, it's a long ride. Got an hour left. And it's the hardest part about these rides is staying in the saddle for this long. Because I've got about another maybe 25-30 minutes before my sit bones start to give up and the pain starts to seep in. And then from there, it's just a matter of battling with the pain and trying to convince myself to keep moving forward. And so it is Thanks for good torture. Hey, that. And so I've been working with a product called Caliber Biometrics. Much as I would love to be sponsored by them, I ain't. I just happen to like the product in terms of what I've come across. Even though there's not a lot out there. But the design of it is it's a mask that measures your rate of oxygen exchange or gas exchange, more appropriately said. And so what I've learned is that being in ketosis all the time can throw the numbers off. But for the most part, my zone 2 is actually lower than what Zwift gives me credit for. So wattage wise, it has me in this range, 170 at the upper end of my zone 2. Heart rate wise though, my zone 2 is actually in the 130s, which makes me bring my power down. Sorry, my watts are in the 130s. My heart rate is in the 100s, like 110, around there. Which means I am oxidizing more fat than glucose while I'm doing those efforts. Once I get beyond that effort, and really in the effort that I'm in now, I'm oxidizing more glucose and less fat. But there is a exchange that you can benefit from where when you're done with workouts like this, because you're depleting your glycogen stores, your body has to replenish it. Well, one of the beauties of the way the body works is that glycerol backbone that makes triglycerides and fats can be stripped off and turned into glycogen. So, kill two birds with one stone, which is why I don't mind staying in the higher heart rate end. And I don't need to eat to race. I just gotta stay hydrated. You know, my energy drink that I drink does have a phenomenal amount of B12, 7,500% B12. And so B12 helps with metabolism, boosting metabolism. So it works for me. Kind of like a 5-hour energy drink, but bigger. And so using that device, not only have I kind of seen that my zone 2 is not where Zwift has me placed, but my metabolic rate is also not where I would expect. And so the biggest thing about it is, and this is where I think people, I wouldn't say are misled or get it wrong, but maybe are unaware that, so the beauty of having this device in the house is I measure my exchange rate all the time. I can be walking around the house, taking out the trash, sitting at my desk, and measure my oxygen exchange rate, which then calculates how many calories of fat you're burned, how many calories of glucose you're burning, and how many overall calories you burn. And so my resting metabolic rate is about a calorie per minute being 100% idle, meaning that's what my body uses just to sustain life. Now, when I get up and move, when I go to walk to the bathroom, walk to the kitchen, stay standing for more than 5 minutes, my metabolic rate jumps up to about 2 to 3 calories per minute. Now, if you do the math, if you're completely sedentary for 24 hours, that's 1,440 calories a day, which is far lower than what the average metabolic calculator gives you. For me, the average calorie calculator puts me in the 2300 range. And yeah, I will burn that, but that means I have to be moving all day in order to make up for it. And so now that I know that, I know when I'm idle, there's that mental check-in of like, hey, you're doing the bare minimum. Let's get up, let's walk around the house. It doesn't even take much to bring that rate up. Like a walk around the block, I think, brought my caloric rate to like 4 to 10 calories per minute, something like that. It's a broad range, just because I don't remember exactly what it was, but I know it's far more than what it is when I'm idle. And so for me, stuff like that helps, because then I know that when I do eat food, I prioritize protein, but if I'm going to eat fats or carbs, then I know that, hey, my glycogen stores are full. I don't need to eat that much in terms of carbs. And if I feel like crap, then I just got to make sure I get the right amount of fat in, which isn't much. And that keeps me moving. Specifically speaking, for me, anything under 90 minutes, I don't really need much. It's when I get to like I said, that one stage in FRR, when I got to the 2-hour mark, I was hurting. But I made it. I gotta be mindful of today is overheating. Boy, it's hot. You know, my body's sweating profusely. Trying to keep cool. Just looking at the heart rate. Helps me climb little by little. Set number 4. I wish they broke out this set, so that way I get a star for each of the 7 groupings of this set, each of the 7 rounds. Oh, buddy, go. Alpine. What is that? Did I level up? Hey, we're complete, finally. Like my backside is not lasting as long as I thought it would. Meaning I haven't put up out of the saddle in a while, so once I finish this next round, I'm gonna pause, grab myself an energy drink. Hopefully that gives me what I need to finish. We'll do me to bring my heart rate down. Which can be done by belly breathing. Actually, keep checking out shadows once I'm done with this too. Pause. Last of the 7 rounds before I pause. My BP hurts. I'm gonna take this on the night. I'll drink a caffeine-free one. Hopefully, go sleep well. I'm going to take a quick break. Pause this. Get off my butt a little bit. Oh my God, slow down. bike is soaked. I will be right back. Okay. Back home. More of these. So 14-minute. Intervals. Thank you, Kyle, GHT on Team Dino. Thumbs up. I can tell. Hear my phone vibrate. Look at you. Containing that. I've not really been paying attention to. I have my Twitch stream monitor manager, whatever it's called, on one phone, and YouTube on the other. Just keep an eye on both screens. Something I always have to remind myself of is to not bring my shoulders in like this, bring my head down, neck down. It compresses the lungs. I end up basically ball, like crouching into like a ball almost, kind of like an armadillo. And that compresses your lungs, which doesn't help you breathe. Better. You can keep your posture. Easier it is to breathe. You can take deep breaths into your belly. To help bring your heart rate down. In my case, the talking's not helping. But long term, the talking does help. That's why in the military, you run while singing cadences. Help you manage your breathing. It really does work. All right, 1 minute left, and we're back into our 14 minutes of on-off torture in zone 2. Got Pete Dalton coming up. Oh, he's holding 4 watts. Drop. I thought it was going to come past me at 4 watts. You didn't say. That's flying. If you ever decide to do something like this, just remember that I am drinking water. I may not be drinking every 15 minutes like recommended, or 10-15 minutes. I am drinking water. I was hydrated prior to this. I'm sweating a lot. I don't have any fans on. I'm not purposely trying to just dehydrate myself. Just want my body to run at a little bit higher temperature. Be more metabolically active. My garage right now is only 81 degrees. I'm not in any danger of heat stroke or any heat related meeting. I will have my protein shake after this, which is a 64 ounce cup of lots of ice. Remember, if you're going to do this, stay hydrated. Heat is nothing to play with. If you do it right, you can naturally boost your EPO levels. It helps build endurance, performance. And what I believe, the true purpose of Zone 2 is to be able to metabolize fat better. And while I've heard Inigo San Milan say something similar, basically put it in similar context, where the better you can oxidize fat, then the more power, the more effort you can, the better, so the more power you can do with lower energy demands from your glycogen stores, which means when you need the glycogen for high energy demands, you're still almost fully topped off. So you're able to perform better long term. And that's the fitness base I want to build. I want to have a good, strong Zone 2. When I do go above that, I can perform better longer. Hey, Santa. Good shot. Ready for one. Thank you, Takara. Thanks, Bobo. Have a good night, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate you sticking around for this long, boring effort. I gotta get a picture of this. The base around my front wheel has what looks like half an inch of water from sweat. I'll get a picture when I finish. Like I said before, I don't think I've ever finished this thing in its entirety. So I'm almost there today. Got 40 minutes left. Which will go by quickly as you can. And the next 40 minutes feeling like it's 38. Thanks. 40 or 50. Can't believe how much sweat is down there. I'm also coming up on the longest I've ever done a ride without my fans on. Because even on some of these zone 2s, I end up turning on one of the fans at the lowest setting just to get some air moving. But I feel good today, even after my race yesterday. I switched so I have a leg compression. I don't remember what the type of health product is called, but it's leggings that you put on that inflate and kind of squeeze your legs. Here. So squeeze the legs all the way up to the hips. I started using a different setting a couple days ago because it feels better. It feels like it gives me a stronger squeeze. And I don't feel as sore as I have in the past. Now, maybe that's just me, and I'm in a better fitness point right now, but it does feel better. So, I'm gonna keep doing it. I feel good today. Boricua, mi gente. If you look at my profile picture in Zwift, I represent my 3 nationalities: American, German, and Puerto Rican. I spent last month rotating the flags out. I'm gonna keep doing it just because that's who I am. Multicultural background. And I feel like if I can connect with others from those cultures, why not? Everybody likes to see a friendly face in their group. This is the point in the race where I start to get aggressive because I know I'm almost done. I can feel it. But I need to calm down. I will overdo it easily. Another thing I'm learning is that caffeine does no benefit while racing. I have the energy drink that I use, have it in caffeinated and caffeine free. And as far as how I feel when I race is about the same. Although caffeine in high amounts does have a, what's it called? Like a pain relieving effect. But I'm not going to drink that much caffeine in a 1 hour race, because it requires like 400 to 600 milligrams or something astronomical like that. When you're racing at 6, 7 o'clock at night, you don't want to do that. And then you don't sleep. If you don't sleep, everything you did goes down the toilet. One more set. Ah, so much more. 11 watts per kilogram up there. Dalton. 10, 10, 4, 9, 7, 9, 0, 9, 5, 9, 6. Oh, now down to 6. Those are some serious power numbers. Those are some strong power numbers. They find me. You don't have to. It can be challenging. Create havoc. A lot of people have enough threats in their life where I had to do it. I can feel the squish in my shoes as my socks are soaked. Ultra speed. Not today, buddy. Not today's lift. Today's about ultra consistency. My butt. 5 minutes. I mean, pause when I get too hot. Before my next section. But needs a little bit of rest. But an insight. I think I was at 28 minutes before. What's going on? I literally have streaks underneath my pedals from where my sweat is dripping off my shoes, including a straight line in my pedal profile. Back to top. 2 minutes. Pause before the 2 minutes end. I don't want to start the next round. And then pause. Flag the dips. Right enough problem for that. Wow. No sweat. Almost done. It's hurting. Let's see. I was hoping to have my new saddle today. This would have been a perfect workout to test out. Shoes are soaked. Hair wrap is soaked. Pop out again. Another so much. Sweet. Almost done. Got another 30 minutes, 25 minutes. First time I would have actually completed this, if I remember correctly. I don't know if there's a way to check that in Zwift to see whether or not you completed a workout before. But in my recollection, this is the first time I would actually complete it. Every time I've done this, I have to stop for one reason or another. This time, I'm dangerously close to completing it. I'm not going to stop now. Wait till I post a picture of how much sweat is on the floor. Actually, I have so much sweat it might actually go towards the plugs and wires. And it's 81 degrees in my garage, Fahrenheit. I don't have any fans on for me. Laptop has all the fans on. My laptop has been known to shut off spontaneously with overheating on the GPU side. But doing good today. It's doing good. Almost there. Route badge today for this course. You guys haven't seen GP Llama's update yet, or Zwift Insider's update yet. I would imagine you have by now. The map finally being updated for all worlds, all routes. You'll get a better elevation profile. Now the only thing Zwift needs to do is add a draft gauge. And you'll see plenty of people start using sauce. I don't have it turned on right now, but I like using it for the draft gauge as well as the groups, where it shows how many people in your group and where the groups are distributed. You kind of get an idea for who's up the road, more specifically how many people are up the road, how far they are. Same thing with behind you. Help you kind of navigate your strategy while racing. And then I do use the elevation profile in sauce, really just to get an idea of how long the course is and what's coming up ahead. But I have to literally stretch it across my entire screen to make it functional. Thanks Varley from Herd. These Herd guys were tough, man. On CRL the other day, he's the guy that he and I kept going back and forth until last 2 kilometers. And he caught on to the front group and left me behind. So, if you're ever racing against Herd guys, be tough. The other guys, the other teams, a lot of good teams out there. I obviously have a favorite team, because that's what I'm on. But a lot of good racers out there. A lot of good teams, a lot of good nationalities. My arms did not stay dry long at all. Almost finished. Three, 7, 'm gonna get a better thumbnail for these workout videos, for these random live streams. But if you have suggestions, I am open. There's the pot. I've never been to New York City. It is a beautiful place. Central Park is way bigger than Swift gives it credit for. You can quite literally get lost in it. It's so big. Even though the island of Manhattan's not that big. It's only like, at its widest, I think it's like a mile or two wide. And then like 4 miles long, something like that. And you're talking about like a third of the population of the East Coast of the United States is in that one area. And more than half of the population of the United States lives on the East Coast. Fun fact, the majority of it's in Florida. We got a lot of people. Also got a lot of space. You know, the cities are overcrowded. There's a lot of swampland in between. Too expensive to develop. Almost there. Oh, I meant to check on my playlist. Make sure it's still streaming my music and not someone else's. If you're not hearing rock music, auto-tune vocals, then probably not. Surprisingly, it's still on my playlist. Thank God. Last time I did this, I got a copyright strike. Not a strike, but copyright flag on my video because my playlist stopped playing and went to something else. Passing. Almost got it. Like my workout's gonna end. Broken. I would be able to complete a second lap. I doubt it. Look at that title. Yeah. "15 minutes left. Just under 15. Thanks, H-Boom. Almost there. Which are hurt. Hash brown. Go Sky. What's that power next? Hey, Andre. Great race yesterday. He was one of the guys that put a whooping on me. ZRL. Again, the SWAT guys, so 5W4T. I just call SWAT. Those guys are some great racers. Last. 1 minute effort and then cool down. I'm putting right at the base. I don't think I'm going to even make it all the way up to the top of the KO1. Uppers. Wheat straw. Alright. Here's the hard part. I think I might actually before I finish. Which would be nice. The amount of sweat. I gotta figure out a way to really capture the picture of this. You can see how far my sweat has traveled around my garage. I'll be shocked if I'm not 82 kilograms in the morning. Even though I'm going to drink another. I usually drink a light version of my protein shake. Just 1 scoop instead of 2. And then some creatine and electrolytes blended. Some heavy whipping cream. Make it taste yummy. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm in the 82s tomorrow. I can't believe how much I sweat. I wish I could power walk my bike inside the house. Because this sweat is not good. Keep dripping down everything. And I use the super, whatever it's called, the super stuff. That's the half wax, half oil-based lubricant. And then everything else I spray down with WD-40, an anti-corrosive and protectant. So in the military, we used to use a product called CLP, cleaner, lubricated protector. It's kind of like WD-40 on all our weapons. When I tell you that it works, it works. You just gotta, it's not a one and done. And that's the problem, is people think WD-40 is just a one and done. It's a routine maintenance. Once a week, clean everything off, spray it, make sure there's no grime, and you're good. But since I started using the super stuff, whatever it's called, super lube, and Silka, I left the drivetrain alone in terms of WD-40. I just clean other mechanical parts with it. About 5 minutes left. Now we'll be done for the night. But nope. I want my flywheel to stop, and then it gets infinitely harder to start. Glutes hurt. Like I mentioned before, the saddle is comfortable, but the most comfortable spot on it is a little too far back from my thighs. The wings of the saddle push on the backside of my hamstrings. But if I sit forward, where that's not an issue, it's not as comfortable. My new saddle might not get here tomorrow. So I won't be able to test it. And I don't know if I'll be able to test it on Friday. Can't test it on Friday. And I'm gonna have to take it with me to test because I don't want to start using it brand new on FRR and not know what it feels like. Almost done. Almost done. At least I won't have to do any more climbing after this. I can stop, turn around, and get a couple more kilometers by just coasting. Come on, 3 minutes. 3 minutes and it's time to catch the W train. Winner's town. I completed this stupid workout for the first time ever. Oh, come on, come on. It is around. I need to get this picture. I'm gonna post it. I'm gonna post out of it. I'm gonna make a short out of it. Put myself active. I don't know what I would have. Well, my starting weight before this exercise would have been a lot of me on the floor. 2 minutes. Almost. Two minutes. 1:30 after. But the rest, it's really my glute and hamstring come together is what really hurts because of this saddle. One minute. All right. For those of you who joined me, if you're still around, thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for participating in my madness. Stop by and said hello. Appreciate you. You catch this on a replay and decide to leave it running in the background. Still appreciate you most of all. Out of every liquid I have, got 10 seconds roughly left. And I am done. Woohoo! Oh, almost 1,000 calories, which, from my experience, Swift rates me a little high on the kilocalories. So it's not really 1,000 calories. I mean, I think it's streaming in her heart. Okay. I don't know how this is going to come out in terms of audio, but look at all of that is me. Jesus. All that is me. From my almost 2-hour zone 2 workout in the Sweatbox. I understand today, but really great. Oh my God. It's an epic proportion. Alright. Sweatbox out. Oh, very good. That's how much water and sweat. In me, my type. Taste it. I taste it. Yo, what's up, JD? Bruh. I can't even begin to tell you how nasty it is in here. So sweaty. Just finished almost 2 hours of workout. Doing the active recovery in New York. And there's probably at least, my guess, there's got to be at least somewhere around 24 ounces. I don't know how much a liter is in ounces, but there's got to be a good 24 ounces of meat on the floor. Not including what's on my shirt and my socks, pants, all that. So thanks, man. I'm getting out of here. Thanks for stopping in. It is. My handlebars are soaked. Like I gotta clean my bike after today. I did a disservice to my bike today, but be worth it, especially when I drop another kilogram. Yeah. All right, dude. Appreciate you stopping in. I'm gonna go. Yeah. Okay. Let's see if I can tilt. Okay. All that dark spot, all that dark area is water. It's my sweat. So I'm gonna make a short out of it because it is gross. And there's a lot up there. I'll say it later. But Yeah, I'm out, man. Appreciate you. Thanks for stopping in. Have a great night, guys.